Hey, welcome back. Imagine this. You're on a journey working hard to build the best version of yourself, but without even realizing it, the people around you might be shaping your thoughts, your habits, and even your future. The ancient Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "The key is to keep company only with people who uplift you, whose presence calls forth your best." But what happens when you're surrounded by people who do the opposite? Let's talk about the kind of people who can slowly derail your progress without you even noticing. In the first type, the complainer. You know the one. Nothing is ever good enough for them. The weather is too hot. Their job is terrible. The world is unfair. And even their coffee is always either too bitter or too cold. At first, you might just brush it off. That's just how they are, you think. But over time, their constant negativity seeps into your own mindset like a slow leak, draining your energy, making everything seem a little darker than it really is. Stoicism teaches us to focus on what we can control, our actions, our mindset, our choices. But what if you're constantly exposed to someone who only focuses on problems without ever seeking solutions? Let's say you're working on a project and every meeting with this person turns into a complaint fest. Instead of finding solutions, you're stuck listening to all the reasons why things won't work. The result? You feel drained. Progress slows down. And worst of all, you might even start seeing the world the way they do, through a lens of frustration and helplessness. So what do? One approach is to simply limit your exposure. If that's not possible, maybe because they're a coworker or even a family member, then practice mental distancing. Imagine their words as background noise, like a passing storm. Loud, maybe even unsettling, but ultimately temporary. Another strategy? Redirect the conversation, steer it toward solutions. And if they refuse to engage in anything constructive, let them sit in their negativity alone. As Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Now let's talk about the drama magnet. You're sailing smoothly through life, and then suddenly, bam, you're caught in a storm you had nothing to do with. These people thrive on chaos. Every day there's a new crisis, a new enemy, a new controversy, and the more time you spend around them, the more you get sucked into their whirlwind of conflicts and emotional turmoil. At first, their energy might seem exciting. After all, they're passionate, right? But soon you start realizing that their life is a never-ending soap opera, and they're trying to cast you in a supporting role. Maybe you have a friend who always seems to be in a feud with someone in your social circle. One day they're ranting about Sarah, the next it's Tom, and somehow, just by listening, you find yourself tangled in their mess. So how do you navigate this? One strategy is reflective listening. Instead of offering advice or taking sides, simply mirror their words back to them. When they say, "I can't believe Sarah did that to me," respond with, "So you're feeling betrayed by Sarah." This allows you to acknowledge their feelings without actually stepping into their drama. Another powerful move? Become selectively unavailable. Stoicism teaches us to value our time, and sometimes that means setting clear boundaries. Turn off your phone during specific hours. Create spaces where you can focus on your own goals, and make it clear that you don't have time for constant drama. As Seneca said, true happiness is to enjoy the present without anxious dependence on the future. And that means freeing yourself from other people's endless cycles of chaos. And then, of course, we have the naysayer. Imagine you're painting a masterpiece. Every brushstroke adds color, depth, and life to your vision. But then, in walks the naysayer. "Are you sure about that color?" they ask. "That doesn't look realistic. You know, most artists never make it, right?" They aren't here to offer constructive criticism. No, they're here to plant seeds of doubt, to make you second-guess yourself, to smother your enthusiasm before your dream even has a chance to grow. Let's say you're excited about starting a new career path. You've done your research, taken the first steps, and you're feeling motivated. But when you share your excitement with a naysayer, they hit you with a barrage of negativity. "That's too risky. What if you fail? Do you really think you can make it?" Before you know it, their words start replaying in your mind, making you hesitant, making you question whether you were ever capable in the first place. But here's the thing. Great thinkers, creators, and leaders throughout history all faced naysayers. The difference? They didn't let doubt win. Instead, they used it as fuel. The Stoics remind us to focus on what we can control, and one thing we always control is how much influence we allow others to have over our minds. The best response to a naysayer? Keep moving forward. Let your actions, not their doubts, define your journey. Surround yourself with those who uplift you, those who challenge you in a way that makes you better, not weaker. Because at the end of the day, the voices we listen to shape the path we walk. They bombard you with reasons why it won't work out. The market is too saturated. Do you even have the skills? What if you fail? Before long, their doubts start creeping into your mind, shaking the confidence you once held so firmly. But how do you handle a naysayer, especially when there's someone close to you? One unexpected but highly effective approach is to seek their advice instead of merely sharing your plans. When people take on an advisory role, they're less inclined to dismiss your ideas outright. Instead, they shift into a mindset of problem solving, offering insights that might actually help rather than discourage you. Another approach is to turn their negativity on its head. If someone insists you'll never be able to switch careers, don't just take the hit. Instead, ask, "That's an interesting point. How do you think someone could successfully make a career change?" This not only deflects their skepticism, but also pushes them to think constructively rather than critically. The ancient Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said that we have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak. But listening doesn't mean absorbing negativity. It means filtering out what's useless and taking in what's valuable. When doubt starts to cloud your vision, pause, observe, reflect. But never let someone else dull the vibrant masterpiece you are creating. Then there are the victims. Life is like a chessboard. Everyone starts with the same pieces, facing the same goal. Some make strategic moves, take risks, and grow from setbacks. But the victim? They blame the board, the pieces, or even the opponent for their every failure. In their narrative, they are always the unfortunate protagonist, held back by forces beyond their control. I can't get promoted because my boss has it out for me. I can't get fit because of my genetics. While it's true that some people face real systemic challenges, the victim we're talking about isn't looking for solutions. They're looking for someone to validate their excuses. If you're not careful, you might become a supporting character in their endless tale of misfortune. You listen, you sympathize, and before long, you might start internalizing their mindset. The temptation to rescue them is strong, to be the one who finally helps them turn things around. But Stoic wisdom warns against this. Instead of playing savior, practice what's known as compassionate detachment. Show empathy, but don't take responsibility for their problems. Offer a listening ear, but don't become their emotional crutch. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injustice." If you find yourself caught in a victim's web, resist the pull. Take ownership of your own path. Make your moves with intention. Because in the grand game of life, staying stuck in checkmate is not a destiny, it's a choice. And then there's the toxic positivist, always radiating sunshine, always pushing an endless stream of cheerful affirmations. They mean well, but their relentless optimism can feel dismissive, even suffocating. Life, like a garden, is filled with both flowers and weeds. Yet the toxic positivist insists on seeing only the roses, ignoring the thorns entirely. If you're struggling, they don't acknowledge your pain. They just tell you to look on the bright side. Feeling lost after a tough breakup? There are plenty of fish in the sea. Dealing with stress at work? Just be grateful you have a job. While optimism has its place, blind positivity can make people feel unheard. It invalidates real emotions, making struggles seem insignificant. So how do you protect your mental and emotional space from the toxic sprinkling of good vibes only? The key is balance. If someone urges you to focus solely on the positives, counter with something that acknowledges both the light and the dark. If they say, "At least you have your health," respond with, "Yes, and I'm grateful for that, but I also need space to process what I'm feeling." Growth doesn't come from ignoring the hard parts of life. It comes from facing them head on. So while a little positivity can be uplifting, Remember that authenticity is far more powerful than forced optimism. Acknowledge the full spectrum of your experience. Embrace the challenges and navigate your path with both resilience and clarity. There's a certain pressure in today's world to always be positive, to brush aside discomfort and simply put on a happy face. But life doesn't work that way, and neither do emotions. It's possible to acknowledge joy while also allowing space for sadness or frustration. Emotional complexity isn't a weakness, it's what makes us human. When someone insists on relentless positivity, take a moment to pause and truly recognize what you're feeling. Maybe today you're carrying a sense of melancholy because of a personal setback, and that's okay. Labeling your emotions with clarity can be liberating. Seneca once reflected that true happiness lies in balancing our duties with the present moment, recognizing obligations that may not always be pleasant, while still appreciating life as it unfolds. This isn't about fixating on either the good or the bad, but about embracing the full spectrum of experience with equanimity. So the next time someone showers you with empty reassurances, remember, a thriving garden needs both sunshine and rain. Let yourself feel everything and nurture your life with the richness and depth it deserves. And then, there are those who attempt to rewrite your story without you realizing it, the manipulators. Imagine your life as a carefully crafted script. You know where you want to go, the obstacles you'll overcome, and the victories you'll celebrate. But then someone subtly alters the narrative, leading you down a path that benefits them instead of you. They use guilt, flattery, or deception to mold your decisions. A friend might always find a way to get you to pay for dinner by saying, "You're so successful. It wouldn't mean much to you, but it would really help me." Over time, you realize you're being used, but calling them out feels uncomfortable because they've framed it as friendship. Handling a manipulator requires strategy. One method is called fogging, agreeing with any truth in their words but refusing to let them manipulate you. If they say, "You're doing well, you should pay," you could respond, "I am fortunate, but let's split the bill like we usually do." Clear boundaries are crucial. If someone pressures you into lending money or taking on responsibilities you're uncomfortable with, a calm and assertive, "I can't do that, but I wish you the best," is enough. Epictetus reminds us that while we can't control external circumstances, we always control how we respond. A manipulator thrives on predictable reactions: kindness, guilt, the need for approval. By shifting your response, you reclaim control of your story. Remember, your life is yours to script. Others may play their roles, but you are always the protagonist of your own journey. Then, there are the time vampires. Imagine your daily routine as a finely tuned symphony, each task and commitment an instrument in perfect harmony. But then a disruptive presence appears, throwing off the melody, turning the music into chaos. The time vampire isn't always malevolent. Sometimes they don't even realize they're doing it. It could be a colleague who constantly interrupts with trivial questions, breaking your focus into fragmented pieces. Or a friend who pressures you into social events you don't enjoy, draining your energy with obligations that don't align with your priorities. At first, these disruptions may seem minor, but over time they add up, stealing the most precious resource you have, your time. So how do you protect your rhythm? One effective strategy is the Pomodoro technique, dedicating focused time to work, uninterrupted, in structured intervals. When someone tries to pull you away, you can simply state, "I'm in the middle of something. Let's talk later." If the time vampire is someone in your social circle, remember that saying no isn't rude. It's a declaration of self-respect. A simple, "Thanks for the invite, but I can't make it," is more than enough. You don't owe long explanations. Your time is yours to allocate as you see fit. Seneca reminds us that a well-lived life is long enough. Time is the canvas upon which we paint our existence, and every moment should be chosen with intention. When you look back, will your life be a masterpiece of purpose? Or will it be filled with the wasted strokes of distractions and obligations you never truly wanted? Hold the baton of your own symphony and conduct your life with precision, ensuring every note contributes to the greater melody of your purpose. As we reflect on these figures, the ones who steer our choices, who consume our time, who challenge our emotional authenticity, it's easy to identify them in the people around us. But the deeper, more important realization comes when we ask ourselves, have we ever played these roles in someone else's life? Awareness isn't just about identifying external influences. It's about examining ourselves and making conscious changes where needed. If any of these insights have sparked a realization, take a moment to reflect. Growth begins with awareness, and every step toward understanding leads to a more deliberate, fulfilling life. Choose your actions wisely, guard your time fiercely, and let your journey unfold in a way that aligns with your deepest values. Because in the end, the life you craft is entirely your own.